All right, everybody, hello and welcome in. We are live broadcasting here with you on all of our social media channels as we bring you some severe weather coverage, the beginning of what could turn into a long night for some. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. We have meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff in the studio with us, and meteorologist Jacob Dickey is out in the Stormtracker. And we are here to provide you all of the updates that you need in terms of severe weather potential for tonight and where it is already actually happening here, because we've already had a handful of warnings that have been issued here, and we're going to go into those. We're going to look at what's happening down in the St. Louis area, as they currently have tornado warnings associated with them. Those storms down that way, again, potentially heading in our direction here tonight, especially near I-70. So there's a lot for us to kind of go through, and we are glad that you're here with us. And we, as always, will keep you updated on this severe weather all night long with the entire team ready to go. So just as I say that, it does look like that the warnings that were in effect down in some of these locations, they're still in effect right now. They're still.
I see two of them. There's one south of Taylorville, one northwest of Seoul. I think your boxes are underneath the radar image.
Okay, gotcha. So here's kind of what we're looking at here. We've got some severe thunderstorm warnings with some cells that have been located down here in the parts of Christian County. Okay, and so it is down in this area where we've had already some reports of a little bit of hail. Matter of fact, I heard some reports that there was some hail over in the Assumption area. Looks like almost to the size of quarters or so most recently. But right now, we definitely have some strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms here that are moving through parts of the area here tonight. And we're going to be watching not just the storms that we're seeing here, but additional cells that are located down here towards St. Louis. This storm has been tornado warned, now kind of on the northeast side of the suburbs there, and kind of heading on the north side of town where that cell is located. So that one eventually is going to kind of hug close to I-70 and is going to be an area of concern as we go throughout the course of tonight. Is this cell, if it can kind of stay out on its own, so depending upon the exact track that it takes here, we're going to be watching that carefully because that one has the best potential as it runs into a prime atmosphere to potentially bring us some more tornadic activity. But as we look at things right now, okay, you can see how we've got this little area that basically runs from Taylorville, north of Shelbyville, to Sullivan, to Tuscola, okay? And it is in that area where we've got severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect for portions of Macon, Moultrie, Piatt, and Shelby County. All of this activity is slowly kind of drifting off here to the north. What I'm going to do is kind of to the north and east, put the little bit of a loop on it. You can see how it's just kind of hanging along that area. There is a warm front there. And we're also starting to see some development. Look at this, just in the past kind of few minutes over to Edgar County. There wasn't anything there near Westfield to Kansas, and now storms are starting to fire there. Storming pretty good over here between Tuscola, Arcola, heading into the Broadlands, Newman area. And again, storming from Arthur back to Lovington. You can see some of those higher returns on the radar. Bethany as well, and Lovington. You can see the purple colors there. That's where you may have a little bit of hail. They're talking about the potential for, some golf ball size hail. It's not out of the question. We've already had some quarters being reported. And then on top of that, there are flash flood warnings here to Christian County because the same areas are getting hit by a lot of water. So flash flood warnings have been issued down there. And that's going to be an ongoing thing as these storms kind of ride along a warm front that's kind of set up there. And these storms are going to be pretty potent in terms of their rainfall potential and a lot of moisture to work with, and they're just going to dump this rain out. So again, we're kind of looking at a few different areas here of concern as we go throughout the course of tonight. We've got the tornado watch that is in effect as well. And we've got Jacob that's out in the Stormtracker.
Not seeing anything from him at the moment. Yeah. He's been in and out here for
so Jacob's down in that direction there, and so we're really kind of in this window over the next several hours, and we're going to be watching that storm. The one that's really got me, kind of wanting to really keep a close eye on is this one cell that is down, going to be heading into Illinois, crossing the river here before too long, towards the St. Louis area. And Jacob is trying to get his signal up for us to tell us about what he is seeing in his location. See a lot of you that are watching. Thank you for chiming in on the live chat. We do read your chat messages there, so if you guys have questions, we can try to answer some of those for you. But right now, obvious concern here for storms that are from Tuscola over to Sullivan right now, as these storms are definitely packing a punch, and you can see there we are with the radar showing those storms. Severe thunderstorm warnings continuing here as we go throughout the course of tonight. There it is. You've still got Macon, Moultrie, portions of Piatt to Shelby, and then back here into Christian County as well with the severe thunderstorm warnings. So this is the beginning of what could be a long night of thunderstorms. So definitely something that we're going to be carefully monitoring as we go throughout the course of tonight. This storm out of the St. Louis area, definitely one that is going to garner our attention as we kind of see the direction it takes, probably just north of I-70, and how all of it will begin to play out for us. So again, we don't have Jacob shot up, but we're working on that, and we'll try to get that up for you and get a report in from him here in just a little bit. But that's a look at the radar. And look at that other cell that is south of I-70 over into Missouri. That storm there is really looking intense. And so here's the thing. Locations that are basically south of I-72, that's where the severe threat is going to exist here, because we have a warm front that's basically set up. And anything north of that, you're not going to see the same kind of conditions that would allow for severe thunderstorm tornadic development. So, and we can really kind of tell that by looking at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. And let's just plop that up there for you. And you're going to notice the colors here, the orange, the yellow, and the green. So anywhere in the orange is essentially kind of sitting on that warm front where we think tornadoes could occur. So areas from, let's just say, Springfield, Decatur, Tuscola, Arcola, Paris, and points southward. That's the real threat area for tornadoes. Now, we may get some hail in that yellow and green shaded areas, but we think that the tornadic threat is definitely going to be more in that orange area, so closer to I-70. So that's kind of a good way of kind of looking at it for the potential for that severe weather to occur. If you're in the green or yellow, most likely some winds and some hail. If you are in the orange area, there's a better chance for tornadoes to occur tonight. So that's kind of a quick and dirty kind of a way to kind of look at how this may play out in terms of severe weather as we go throughout tonight. So here's a look at the future track showing the storms that are kind of moving through. And not only do we have these individual cells, but eventually there may be, we call a QLCS, a big kind of squall line, and that could occur pretty late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Okay, so we've got several potential rounds. First, these cells coming out of St. Louis, then a line of storms late tonight, and then there may even be some redevelopment of storms tomorrow, midday, early afternoon that we've got to watch out for. So this is going to be a prolonged event, and it's not a typical one for us. A lot of dynamics in play, and something that we're going to have to really kind of pay attention to here. So this is what we're looking at as of this moment. Severe thunderstorm warnings continuing. We look at our cells that are down here into Moultrie, Piatt, and Shelby County. And you can see where those severe thunderstorm warnings are. And those are going to be in effect until 7:30 p.m. as we kind of drop the loop on here for you. And you can see the general direction that these are going. But notice how they're kind of moving in the same areas. They're kind of training, so to speak. And what I mean by that is you think of cars on a train track and they're just kind of rolling over that track one after another, and they're just dumping a lot of heavy rainfall. And so that's what's happening, and that's why there is a concern for really heavy rainfall. But again, we're starting to see some development here into Edgar County, down into Coles County as well. So what I want to do is I'm going to pull up some of our cameras that we've got down that way and fire those up, because we got something actually kind of cool for us here. Our Charleston camera, if you have followed us at any point over the years, the camera always peered off there to the west. It never moved. Didn't have a pan, tilt, zoom on it. And now we have the potential to move that camera around. So now we're going to be able to, see some different views that we've not typically been able to see before. So that's a new tool that we're able to do, is now we can take this camera and be able to dissect the storms a little bit more. And here, I'm just going to go ahead and move it just barely there. And so now, and how about that lightning shot? It's about to show up. You're going to see it here in just about 5 seconds. There's a slight delay, but again, we've got some thunderstorms out there for us here tonight. Severe weather potential is ramping up in this area, so it's something that we are definitely keeping a close eye on here tonight. So we've got you covered. We've got a lot of cameras down this way. Our camera down in Effingham, we're going to be watching carefully, but things are starting to ramp up a little bit more down there into Coles County. So our friends that are watching us down near the Charleston and Mattoon areas, looks like a nice little cell there just getting going between Humboldt and Mattoon. And then again, some heavier stuff that is now occurring between Tuscola to Sullivan at this time. So again, we're going to be watching all of this from the cameras, from the radar perspective, and from the Stormtracker that Jacob is out in with us here tonight, that hopefully we'll be checking in with him here in just a little bit. All right, Seth, what do you got over there?
Well, Kevin, just kind of taking a look at a couple things. I'll bring up what you were mentioning earlier about the possibility of the really heavy rainfall totals that we were seeing. I'll just kind of pull that up here on my computer real quick, and we'll switch over to that. As you can see, with some of those storms, we've had rainfall totals anywhere between 2 even up to 3 inches. These storms have some pretty decent rainfall rates, but as you mentioned, those storms are really just kind of training in one spot, not going anywhere. When you have heavy enough rainfall rates, they're just sitting in one spot. Places like Girard, Taylorville, even over to Moweaqua, getting 2+ inches of rain out of all of this, with probably a little more on the way at some point as these storms continue to build up and continue to progress along just a little bit more, and continuing to get some flash flood warnings to just jump out there into the picture as these storms continue to not really make up too much ground. Just kind of taking a look at the general overview of things. We just have the one lone warning in the area at the moment, and that is for parts of Moultrie County right now. And I believe last check, this one had about, I believe it was ping pong ball size hail in it. We'll just take a look and see one more time what it's tagged for there. Wrong thing pulled up, but it says here on the side, quarter size hail still at the moment. So kind of low end stuff. These storms, fortunately for many, kind of lined out before they were able to stay kind of individual cells there for a little bit. So we're fortunate enough to have not had one of those cells like we had in St. Louis start here anyway. Not to suggest that that storm out that direction isn't going to eventually move its way on into the picture, but at least that's not how things got going here towards the beginning anyway. Just to update you on a couple of active alerts here, we'll just show you where the current tornado watch is once it gets pulled up here. There's a lot of places along and south of I-72 as we have that potential for some of those tornadoes that we are watching here through the night tonight. There's your little watch box there. And so that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on for until about midnight tonight is when that is active for. So that potential is going to linger around for as long as we still have that warm front kind of position down there to the south. And it appears, if I'm seeing things right, that maybe Jacob's picture is back up, Kevin. So maybe we can send things over to him here. I'll get his picture pulled up here, hopefully. There we go.
All right, so it looks like we've got Jacob there. And let me see here. Let me see if I can figure out his location, where he is. I know he was down there into Christian County here just a little bit ago, and it looks like he is between Tower Hill and probably coming into the Shelbyville area right now. And he's trying to get the water tower. Oh, there it is, Shelbyville. As his signal's it's kind of jumpy a little bit there, so I apologize for that. Even though he's in Shelbyville, it's kind of strange. We're not getting a great signal from him right now, as it's kind of freezing up on us. You would think that that's a pretty good cell phone coverage area, but that's where he is. You can see him coming into Shelbyville. He is coming right into town there. That storm that he is on just north of him. So he's on what was that, 16 there, rolling into town. And Jacob, your signal's kind of jumping a bit here. I don't know if we can hear him. I'm going to guess that the signal is still doing its thing there. Jacob, go ahead and talk and see if we can hear you.
Hey, Kevin. A little bit of trouble. I didn't realize signal was be so jumpy down here. Coming through Shelbyville now, and I'll just keep talking as long as you can hear me. Want to say, first off, these storms to me are Shelby and Moultrie County. Don't really see any sort of inflow, and the fact that they're lining out is good news for that. Now, they are sitting on the warm front, and with that being the case, that warm air is overriding the colder, denser air masses behind it. That's a great recipe for training rainfall here. We may have some pretty serious flash flood problems from places like Taylorville and in northern Shelby County, Sullivan off towards Douglas County, maybe towards southern Vermilion County before all is said and done. So that's one of the concerns that I do have about these storms, is that flash flood potential there. And also, it seems like I've been trying to go east and more south. Eventually, I'll have to go. I just can't get in front of this outflow boundary, this cold air that's pushing to the south and east. So to me, I think that's a good sign for maybe limiting that tornado threat, but still with those overriding elevated storms, some hail might be a possibility. Maybe we're not going to achieve that baseball size hail as far north as we expected. If something were to pull that off, maybe that storm coming out of St. Louis can, but I like where we're heading so far. I like the direction things look to maybe lessen our severe threat. But the trade-off here, and that was one concern we had, is if that severe threat comes down, maybe that flash flood threat's going to come up. And that's something to me that's starting to stand out. Some of the early rainstorms, those first storms that I had in Taylorville were dumping rain, just prolific rain coming out of there, ponding in the roots very quickly. And in some parts we're getting 1 to 2 inch hour rates briefly at times, with how heavy that was. So that's something we'll consider, keep an eye on here, and continue to monitor for you. So that's about what we're dealing with here. Before I go down the low spot here, that's the dam in front of me here in Shelbyville. I know I'm going to lose you guys, so I figured I'd stop here and toss it back to you as we are sitting now coming through the east side of Shelbyville. I'm going to toss it back to you. We'll probably get to the east side of town here, head a little bit closer to Mattoon, Charleston, and keep our eyes on things. But maybe from this first initial round, I personally like where things are looking at this point. So, as you said, Kevin, long time to go. Live in the Stormtracker in Shelbyville, I'm Jacob Dickey. I'll send it back to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jacob. Appreciate it. Giving us the report there in the Stormtracker. Here's the thing. Again, long duration event here that we're kind of monitoring. These warm front setups are very unique into how it, really kind of affects things. And there's a fine line. It's a real delicate line. On one side of that front is much cooler, more stable air. On the other side of that front, basically south of the warm front, really primed, juicy atmosphere. And if these storms can tap into that, they've got there's a lot of shear that's occurring right there. You've got some winds that become what we call backed. And so at the surface, and then those winds are changing direction with height, and that's what eventually creates that spin. If you get that updraft tilted upwards and takes that column and woof, and then you can get tornadoes to develop. But it's a very fine line where that can occur. And so Jake was talking about earlier today how he was driving in, I think, between maybe Decatur to Muiqua, I think it was, and these temperature changed like more than 10 degrees in just a few miles span, and that's the difference on either side of that front. So I know many of you in Decatur are hoping, hey, can the severe weather and hail stay away after what you had last night? At least as of right now, it does look like that the severe weather is just to your south. But this is a long night here because we're going to watch this and watch these storms continue to kind of fire off and watch the activity that's all the way back here into Missouri. And those storms are going to be heading here in our general direction. Right now, looks like the storms that were out here towards St. Louis are no longer warned, but they may be going through a little bit of a cycling stage here. They had a history. It looks like they did have some 2-inch hail near Ferguson in the past 20 minutes or so when that storm came through. So here's the thing. When we kind of look at it, what I want to do is kind of draw this area, okay? And so a pretty primed atmosphere does exist, especially, here where storms have not really formed just yet. So we're going to be looking at southern Shelby County, Effingham County, maybe into Cumberland County there, and Fayette County for these storms as they kind of move into that prime atmosphere. We have something that's called a low-level jet that kicks in, and it kicks in at nighttime a lot and sometimes can enhance some of that shear and get storms to fire off a little bit more. And so that's happening here as we speak after the sun has set now. And so now we're kind of in this waiting game to see how storms will develop. But again, boy, that flood threat is definitely there. You can see all the counties that are under this now, Macon, Moultrie to Shelby. And I venture guess to say that they're going to be adding more to those if this continues as we go throughout the course of tonight. So again, there's a Jacob shot again in the Stormtracker. You can see him there. We were talking earlier. And from a chase perspective, we always love to be able to chase, obviously, during the daytime because you get better views of structure of the storm and you can see things better. Nighttime, it does make it more difficult. But we're still out there and providing that coverage for you so you guys can kind of get an idea. Some of our, biggest chase days and things when we've been out there. If you obviously recall last year down towards Mattoon and Gaze where the tornadoes came through, that was at nighttime. We were down there as well. So we're going to be in the position that we need to be in to be able to show you guys what's going on here tonight. And again, this could go into the day tomorrow, an interesting setup there. So we're definitely going to be really keeping an eye on things. I know that there's a lot of you maybe watching here from Newman over to Tuscola or Cola. You can see these storms. Arthur, you're getting a lot of heavy rainfall. And we're not seeing anything specific as the structure wise in terms of, seeing rotation on this, but it's coming down and we are seeing, a lot of heavy rainfall. What I want to do is I'm going to throw on maybe some lightning. Hopefully I can turn some lightning on with some of these storms and get an idea of how many lightning strikes we're seeing out there with these. Because anytime you can basically look at the lightning counts, you can gauge an idea, especially if that number starts to go up, that the storm is strengthening a little bit. So we'll be monitoring those sorts of things as we go throughout tonight. So that's what we're looking at here right now. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue. The only counties that we've got right now, right here into Moultrie County and just clipping portions of Piatt County right now. But more than anything, I see a heavy rain threat. I'm not seeing, rotation with any of these. I'm not seeing anything too wild. Now we've got our cameras that are down here in Mattoon and Charleston. Let's see if we can't pull some of those up for you here as well. So there's our view again that we can, there you go. Some nice lightning for you. So these storms are just coming in maybe. And that's the thing here at nighttime. We're trying to see what's going on. You're going to be left to the mercy of the lightning lighting up that cloud to be able to see something. And yeah, you can kind of see something there off in the distance there into Charleston. And so we're kind of viewing that there from our camera as there are various storms that are just firing up. There's a pretty strong storm there east of Humboldt. Again, nothing that is, showing me that that's going to turn tornadic soon. But all these storms that sit along that warm front, that frontal boundary there, definitely is what's going to keep our attention up there. I know a lot of you are asking about, several, spots like, hey, what about up in Champaign? And as of right now, listen, there's not a huge threat in the Champaign area. And this is usually a good rule of thumb here. And I'm going to switch over to our Mattoon camera. Here's a good rule of thumb for you. This is a basic. When you watch us, when we do severe weather coverage, if we're not shouting out your town or a town nearby you, then the chances are you're not under a threat. We're going to put at priority and talk about the towns that are under immediate threats. And that's kind of how we do our severe weather coverage, which should make sense, right? Whoever is, more in immediate danger, we talk about those towns. So hopefully you know what county you live in, what towns surround you. And so when we start talking about those towns or your town name, that's when you need to be concerned. We're not talking about Champaign. We're not talking about Danville right now. You're not under any threat at the moment here. And we really think that the largest threat for severe weather is going to be across our southern counties. Seth, is that the H-trip model? So yep. Seth, I'm going to have you pull that up. Talk about that model there that shows the storms and how they're going to be progressing here through tonight, and how, I really think the flash flood threat could be a thing. So go ahead and talk to our viewers about that.
Yep, sure can, Kevin. So we're just looking at what's called the high resolution rapid refresh. That's just fancy talk for a model that gives us an update hour by hour there. And this is the most recent one that was produced at 6 p.m., but it's the most recent one we can get. And it's doing a pretty solid job right now of representing our storms. Never does it completely perfectly, but it's enough to at least allow us to trust it here moving forward. So we just push things ahead hour by hour here. We head into the 8 o'clock hour. Start to notice our storms probably going to grow a little more as far as just aerial coverage. Probably going to have that similar linear look to it. But we'll definitely still be interested to see how those cells off to the southwest evolve. That one near St. Louis kind of lost its steam, but there's a couple other ones out there to the west, I believe, that we'll have to watch as they enter the picture. But as we just take this ahead slowly through the nights, around 9 or 10 o'clock, we could have pretty impressive rainfall rates all across the area. And maybe that starts to creep up farther to the north there, above that warm front, or at least sloping up there with it. You start to see some rain happening up there north of 72. But as we just continue to move through the night, we can continue to see all that rain just kind of barreling down. And our severe threat definitely does not end as this starts to cluster together, but rather shifts a little bit as we kind of get that low-level jet in place, kind of maybe get some of that stronger wind closer to the surface. So we'll watch and see how that evolves. But that's really where we're heading here for a while. I mean, it takes us to midnight there, which is when our tornado watch is theoretically supposed to expire. And then we just see a lot more rain entering the picture. So there have been places like Girard, Taylorville, even near Arthur, that has picked up 2 inches of rain so far. And there's quite a bit more that is on the way, at least according to this model's projections. Should eventually calm down by the time we get on into Tuesday morning there. But just to show you real quick, I'm going to pull up the rainfall accumulation forecast on that same model. We'll just see how much of that rain we actually do end up getting by the time it's all said and done. You'll be kind of impressed with some of the numbers here as we get this pulled up. It takes us through the rest of the night. Again, you see that swath down there in the middle. Looks like Taylorville and Paris, about the only 2 towns on that stripe, but you start to see the orange, the red. I believe the red's when you get to 3+ inches, so plenty of rain still on the way tonight. Could have a few more storms tomorrow as well that tack onto those totals. So talking about 2 to 3 inches on top of what is already a couple of inches here so far this evening that we could see. So that's definitely why we have a flood watch in effect for pretty much the entire area. I believe it keeps out a couple of counties up there to the north. But you'll see quite a bit of rain piling up in just a short amount of time as these storms continue to train on themselves, as is the nature sometimes there with some of those warm fronts. So multiple things to keep in mind watching our immediate severe threat right now, but definitely slightly concerned about the potential for some heavy downpours that lead to flooding conditions as we head on into the day tomorrow. But thankfully, at the moment, it just does not look like our severe situation is where it potentially could have been at this time in the night, which is, of course, a good thing. And just kind of pulling up our radar picture here. Kevin, are we warning free in the area right now?
Does look like we are, in fact, warning free right now. And so we can see our line of storms. And so the next thing for us to essentially kind of keep an eye on is what I've got my eyes on is the storm that's west of St. Louis. And so that's kind of the loop. And you can see, so look at that cell out there. Boy, that one's looking pretty good in terms of its structure on it. Again, this is well west of St. Louis, but I'm going to be crossing up near I-70. We come back closer to home to show you, what's happening here, and you can see the storms They're kind of riding right along that front, becoming a little bit more messier. They are not taking on those same characteristics that we were once seeing in terms of that severe weather. So there are no warnings that are currently in effect here right now. Lots of lightning with our storms, obviously. No surprise there that the lightning on these storms are definitely, but it's just that same area. And they're going to see rain all night. So I am continuing to be concerned about the flooding threat there. There's going to be a lot of water moving over those same spots here. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. But as of right now, no warnings in our area. I want to just kind of show you a few things. First off, let's show you the temperature map because it does a good job depicting kind of where that warm front is. And so that warm front sits basically Springfield, Decatur, across to Edgar County there potentially. Notice how it's 69 in Mattoon, it's 72 in Effingham. And so that front, and look at Watseka, it's 49. Listen, Watseka, definitely not a tornadic threat for you tonight. That front will not make it that far north. The front's going to be sitting right there along I-72-ish to I-74 and points to the south. And so when you just look at the temperatures there, and let me see, I'm not sure if we've got wind gusts, but I've got the wind here. Let me see if I can't get what you're looking at, which I want you to look at here is essentially the wind arrows. So bear with me for a second as I try to pull up the wind speeds. And here we go. And so we're going to look at these arrows and look how you've got some that are coming out of the south. You've got some southeast, and then you've got easterly. Then there are north winds potentially up there north of I-80. And so right where those winds converge and kind of come together is where that front is located. So you can really see that there, close to, Paris, and then stretching over to Decatur. And where you've got those southeasterly winds, we call those backed winds, a southeast wind there at the surface, that a lot of times where you can get some of that rotation to increase. You got southeast winds, and then as you go higher up in the atmosphere, those winds start to turn, and you have to watch that. So the biggest area of concern is going to be, I think, kind of that I-70 corridor stretching up to I-72, where we've got that instability, and you've got to have instability for these storms to feed off of, and you definitely have that with a temperature of 72 in Effingham, 68 Mattoon, so those areas there. But we're also getting some rain right now, and that's kind of cooling things off a little bit. What do we got here?
A new warning just popped in.
Okay, got a new warning coming in. Let's see what that's about.
Looks like Douglas, Edgar, and very corner of Champaign-Vermilion.
Okay, so looks like this cell right here.
Yep.
Okay, coming into Newman, Hume. Your locations there, brand new severe thunderstorm warning. So now you're talking about Murdoch, Seidel, Hume, right there along US 36. Broadlands, you're technically in that warning there as well. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, mainly for winds of 60 miles an hour and hail to the size of quarters is what they've got there. You can see the text on there, 1-inch size hail, winds of 60 miles an hour. And so that threat does exist with that storm. That looks to be one of the more healthier storms that we're kind of looking at there. And I'm seeing some winds within that. So what I can do is I'm going to switch over to our velocity, and that's going to show us. You can kind of see. Do you see where kind of some of these pink colors are located here? And so that's telling us that there are some stronger winds. And when we kind of query it, it's talking about maybe some 45 or so mile an hour winds. There could be some embedded higher wind gusts in there, and also the hail potential. And I think over Newman right now is probably a good bet as to where some of that could be occurring. So this is going to continue to move off here to the north and east. So kind of get a little bit of a time lapse on it. Let me start this over. We're going to back it out a little bit more. And you can see, this eventually is heading into far southern portions there of Vermilion County, in the northwest corner of Edgar County, and in the northeast corner of Douglas County is where we have that storm. I mean, there's a pretty decent storm there also between Edgar and Paris that we're definitely seeing. It is not warned right now, but I could venture a guess to say that you're probably seeing some similar conditions there. So yeah, you might get a little bit of hail there. So keep that in mind if you're watching us down there into southern Vermilion County, eastern Douglas County, and over the Newman area. And it looks like we got some people that are watching us down in that location. So I'll be curious to hear any of your reports that you may have. So let us know what you are seeing from Broadlands to Newman over to Hume, right there along 36, where that severe thunderstorm warning is. And let's just kind of back it out, come back down here. Mattoon, Charleston, Lerna, additional storms. Shelbyville coming down pretty good to Pana. But right now, the biggest threat is definitely going to be with that Newman storm. And that's what we are currently seeing. Starting to get some rain also here at the studio. Up here into Champaign. Not anticipating much in terms of, severe weather up this way into Champaign. It's, probably going to suggest the south. If we get anything, if these storms can lift a little bit more to the north, maybe some hail threats. Definitely the tornadic threat is going to exist closer to I-70 here through tonight as we watch these storms come through.
Just a little bit of deja vu with that storm west of St. Louis. Looking pretty good right now. It does have a pretty decent velocity image to it. So might, like we said, kind of that direction is what we're going to have to watch for here for a little while. But they kind of had the exact same situation a couple hours ago with the storm just off to their west, turned tornadic as it moved into town. Then it kind of died off. But it looks like there's another one right behind it that maybe eventually we'll have to keep an eye on for, still quite the distance away. But just something to continue to monitor. The environment down that way, obviously pretty good if it's firing up more than one of those supercells here within the last couple of hours. So those were the kind of storms we were afraid maybe would start here in the area, but luckily I've been able to avoid up until this point in time anyway.
Yeah, that storm definitely has a good structure to it, and you can kind of see that hook trying to form a little bit. Let's just glance at the velocity. It's a pretty broad rotation in there. Those greens and reds, definitely some strong winds in there, but it's taken on that shape. That's what we typically see in terms of when you get a tornado, a rotation to form in a storm, nice inflow kind of coming in, things starting to wrap up a little bit, and oftentimes a tornado can kind of form in that area. Right now, those winds, when we look at it from the velocity standpoint, are definitely looking more of a broad rotation. So we just wanted to kind of show you that because that's what eventually could be lifting into our far southern counties. So we'll come back here to the severe thunderstorm warning cell that is over Newman. And Newman, I wouldn't be surprised if you're getting a little bit of hail. Let's see if anybody in our chat is getting anything over that way. So Courtney said very windy between Newman and Murdoch right now. So if you're down that way, let us know what you're seeing. Angie says thunder is rattling my dishes in the cabinet. So Courtney's down there between Murdoch and Newman. So be curious what Newman is getting. When you start to see some of those purple colors here, Janet says in Newman, very windy right now. No hail yet. A lot of rain in Newman. So no hail, says Mandy. So we've got several people down there letting us know. A lot of lightning. And the rain keeps starting and stopping in Newton. I'm going to guess it's definitely starting and continuing there as that storm is right on top of you guys. So kind of backing out that view to kind of get you that full picture there of storms that are ongoing from Paris. And we'll come over to Paris right now. Chrisman, I mean, there might be some hail there east of Edgar, east of Chrisman. Anytime we see some of those purple shades show up. Again, the current warned storm is down here near Newman. Let's see here. Heavy rain, not seeing any hail. Mandy says it keeps raining hard, then stops. Pouring in Arcola. Thanks to all of your reports. Appreciate you guys chiming in, letting us know what you are seeing in your area here tonight. I'm going to click over and check out some of our weather cameras, see what we got there. Even got Jacob's shot up here. I was just looking at his stuff. He was seeing some decent lightning there, it looks like. As he's traveling, let's see if I can't find his location. Okay, looks like he's between Windsor and Mattoon. He's actually in Gay, or just came through Gaze and is heading towards Mattoon. And so he's on those storms there. And you can see, it says the driver's passing there, that water gets kicked up. Never fun when it's kind of thrown right back into your face, right? Jacob is telling us that the boundary itself keeps kind of moving south. He says it's 59 in Mattoon right now. Of course, some of that rain cooled air in place. So definitely coming down. That's his shot there. He's going to be coming into Mattoon. So we'll click back to his shot here in a little bit. That is our camera view in Charleston right now, where storms are around the area. You can see some of those flashes of lightning. So we've got another little cell that's going to be coming right towards us here on our camera in the next minute or two. Again, you're looking at those lightning flashes in the sky. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue for basically the far eastern portion of Douglas County and over to, boy, I tell you, you guys are getting just dumped on with that rain over there. And that is going to continue to come down. A lot of water there, so just be careful. Hope the old sump pumps are working and nobody loses power. Bad thing if you lose power and you got the sump pump not pumping that water out of the basement. Never something anybody wants to deal with. But that storm there is definitely dumping some heavy rainfall, and that stretches back towards the Hinesboro area. Oakland seeing some of that activity as well. And this is kind of widen that view out again for you. Again, we're not talking about Champaign or Danville or even Springfield or Decatur or Monticello at this point. The severe threat is south of you. But we're really keeping an eye on this guy that's out here. This is north and west of St. Louis. We're going to watch that cell and then see how it traverses across our southern counties, because it's most likely going to trek right along here. And if it stays south of that warm front, it's going to have the potential to produce a tornado with it. An increased potential for that as we go throughout the course of tonight is what we are seeing. You got the lightning over there. I couldn't get my lightning to come up here.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
gonna
got
have you.
just a picture of it here. I'll get us switched over here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you do that. I'm gonna restart my
Sure.
Mac's computer once you
Let's go
switch over.
this, and we'll do that. So yeah, just kind of taking a look at the lightning here with some of our storms. We'll just take a closer look into a couple of these. Obviously, as you would guess, the one that looks like it's got the most lightning is our severe warned one, but it's probably what you're noticing the most here at the moment is a lot of the flashes here with some of these storms, just a little bit there in the Mattoon-Charleston area, but particularly right around Newman, probably seeing a pretty good light show amongst some pretty heavy rain in there, Hume as well. Maybe even eventually into Cybele there. Let's just take a look at how many strikes that we are seeing within the storm, and we'll come up with that here, and it is somewhere around 54 strikes there within the last little bit. So definitely electric, not the most that we've ever seen with some of those storms, but keeping us watchful here through the night. I'm just kind of put these things in motion. We'll just see how that lightning has evolved over time. These have at once looked pretty good, pretty solidified there. Now these storms becoming a little more scattered with some rain following in behind it as well. But you can just kind of notice here, I'll actually turn off the lightning and just kind of square up my picture here. You can notice that the rain is starting to just build. Some of those storms out ahead of this line are just starting to kind of fill in our picture here a little bit. And that's when you're going to see those widespread rain chances really start to take off here in the coming hours. And that's really going to ramp up the area-wide coverage there of the potential rainfall that we could see. But as these storms continue to cluster together, it kind of lowers the individual threat of any one storm, but doesn't completely eliminate it there. Just kind of the second phase of the storm evolution, as we were mentioning earlier today, where things are starting to cluster together a bit more now, which doesn't completely lower the threat, but more shifts the threat to some other things like some of that flash flooding, of course, and maybe potentially some of those strong winds once these start to cluster up a little more than what they are here for the time being. But really the most imminent threat with some of these storms is probably just the heavy rain that is dumping down there. If you or someone you know is out driving around tonight, probably going to see potentially some high water in a few low spots there before too long. I just bring that up here real quick. Some of the rainfall totals that we've seen, just rainfall radar indicated estimates here, but just anywhere that has seen showers or storms along that line has probably picked up somewhere between about 2 and maybe even up to 3 inches here. Lots of 2.4s and 2.6s over the last 3 hours or so, and things just getting started out there to the east around the Paris area as well. So that is that's definitely something to monitor here. Obviously not the immediate threat that you think of when you think of tornado threats or hail threats, but we have mentioned plenty of times water is very powerful, and if you get enough just to pile up there after a while, it eventually does become one of your higher threats there after some time. But at least for the moment, it doesn't look like things are very noisy here at home, but this is all part of just a much larger severe weather risk across the country, Kevin, that maybe they're not looking at quite as much as what we are up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, just take a look here. I want to show you kind of a wide view of things. And out in Oklahoma, maybe some of you have friends or family that live out there. They've got an ongoing tornado threat here with storms north of Tulsa. You can see a tornado warning cell there near Bartlesville. And that right there, that red box there is tornado warning. So they've been dealing with some of that out there. That is in northeastern Oklahoma. And then back in my old stomping grounds, actually where I just came from this morning, I was literally there this morning visiting some family down that way. Wow, look at that storm. That's probably got some hail in it. That's going to be north and east of Springfield, Missouri, west of Lebanon, Missouri. And so there are tornado warned storms there. And then we come closer to home. There's a storm west of St. Louis that we're going to be keeping a close eye on, and we put that off. And then here are the storms that we are currently dealing with. None of these are severe from Raymond to Taylorville to Shelbyville or Sullivan. The one that we've had the warning on most recently here again between Newman, stretching down to Brockton and the Hume area right now. So that's what we've got. It looks like there's Jacob's shot once again. Pull. Oh no. Let's see. Oh, is mine not punched up?
I think I kind of changed things around.
Oops.
Let's put you, I'm going to put you, Kevin, your picture on 7. I'm going to put Jacob in 6 here real quick. So Jacob's on 6, you're on 7.
Okay. I don't think that's the right radar. Or I think you've got max 1 on the.
Your radar on there. Yeah, now we got it.
There we go. Well, I don't know if anybody were seeing anything I was talking about then when I was back here. Should have been paying attention. Here are the storms back in Oklahoma. I just want to show you those here real quick. Again, at least the warnings that are out there. Bartlesville, you can see that. And then, as I mentioned, near Springfield, Missouri, north and east of Springfield, Missouri. And then the cells here west of St. Louis that we're watching. Definitely keeping a close eye on that. And then all the storms that we have here. Okay, so we are keeping an eye on many locations here. Looking pretty messy. Nothing crazy at this point. Very messy situation with just a lot of water coming down. So be careful out there if you're traveling on those roads tonight. Okay, so lots of water there. All right, let me click back. And all right, so there's Jacob. And I believe he's going to be coming there into Mattoon. So he is rolling through town. Looks like he's passing the Arby's over there. Oh, is he stopping to get some food? I don't know where he's pulled in. I can't tell. We're going to watch Jacob here. And oh, no. Well, his camera's kind of, I can't tell where he is.
He's in a drive-through.
He's in a drive-through. Yeah, I think he's trying to show us where he's at. Well, the poor guy's got to eat. He's got to eat. Sure, we're going to get a text message here. Hold on here. And this is what you do when you're out there chasing. He's down there keeping an eye on things for us, but he's got to stay hydrated. Got to have that nutrition down there. It could be a long night into the day tomorrow. So He's grabbing some. I'm kind of hungry as well. Can he?
Would have to agree.
Can he bring us something back there? He's definitely getting some of that rain there in Mattoon. So, again, he's on that storm. That is down there into Coles County. Again, nothing is severe, but definitely just some of that heavy rainfall that continues to roll through between Mattoon to Charleston. Oh, he's at McHugh's.
Oh.
There we go. Best fries in Coles County, says Sandy. Or no, Brittany. I love that our viewers, they can tell exactly where he's at. Right there. Couple of blocks from Lisa's house. Great choice. Loves them local restaurants.
Let's turn on his audio here in a minute and see what his order is.
Oh.
Curious to know.
Yeah, turn his audio on. What do you got down there, Jacob? What do you order? See if we can get his order. I know he can hear us.
I think I had the wrong audio on for a moment.
I haven't ordered yet.
There he is.
The rain's set inside.
What do you got down there, Jacob? Oh, here he comes.
Well, I'm trying to order, but the rain keeps coming through the window here, so I can't get a good order.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we bring you. Severe weather coverage along with finding out what Jacob's eating down there. Again, I think the big concern with all these storms continues to be just so much rain. Already had 2.5 inches of rain down to Christian County down there. So the flooding threat, definitely an issue here tonight. We got a lot of people that are asking some orders here. Get a bacon burger. Get the chili cheeseburger. Western bacon cheeseburger.
Can y'all hear me?
Let's see what he gets.
Sorry, it's hard to hear with the rain blowing in the window. Can I get a quarter-pound bacon cheeseburger and an order of fries, please? And that'd be all.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Jacob Dickey. Hey, man. The man's got to eat. Good luck.
I think I ordered. I don't really know.
Well,
I'm soaking wet now. The window's been down. So
there he goes. That's our guy. Me and Seth are stuck in the studio here.
The rain is just blowing in.
That is the worst when you're trying to order something there and that rain's kind of blowing right into you guys.
Hey, I could not hear anything and the rain was blowing in.
Yeah, I apologize. Somebody actually did some damage to it. It'll be fixed soon.
Oh, gotcha. Did you hear my order, $1?
The bacon cheeseburger with a medium fry.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be $8.28.
Perfect. Actually, you know what? Let me give you. Yeah, I'll give you that card.
Okay.
Oh, it's not show his credit card. All right, we'll check it. We'll check it with Jacob and his food order in a second. Still just watching these storms. I got to admit that the severe thunderstorm warning cell that was there just a moment ago does not look as intense as it was in Newman and Metcalf. Seeing a weakening trend there. Actually, the storm down in Paris is probably looking pretty good. So that one there, maybe the strongest one. But this area here that hasn't seen much into Cumberland County, far southern Shelby County, maybe down near Cowden. We're going to be watching those areas as those other storms come out of portions of Missouri. So we're going to be keeping a watchful eye on how those storms develop here as we go throughout the course of tonight. It looks like Jacob's got his order. Hold on there. There it is. There it is. All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. It took a minute. So apparently, they said somebody damaged the speaker board, and so the audio is really soft. And I have a hearing aid and can't hear anything anyways. And the rain is blowing sideways, and I'm soaking wet. But I got me a bacon cheeseburger, and some fries. So we are good to go.
There you go. All right, we're gonna let you eat. We won't
Okay.
we won't make you sit on
Did you
camera.
see that storm? That storm, northeast of Springfield, Missouri. There, Kevin. Looked pretty
Yeah,
nice.
I know that storm back there. Again, I was literally just down there this morning, visiting family down that way, and that storm there. Whew. And this is looking at the radar from St. Louis, and it's still showing up pretty good. So, yeah, that one's going to be right. That's going to come across I-44 before too long, and so it's never good when those storms kind of cross over the interstate there on I-44. But so we're watching that activity there. Again, Oklahoma, our good friend, meteorologist Jack Gerfen, former meteorologist here at WCIA. He's in Oklahoma City now, so he's dealing with some of that severe weather. You can see there in Tulsa, north of Tulsa, additional warnings just kind of popping up there. Red, tornado warnings. Purple, anytime you see the purple boxes, and this is a good way to kind of, tell you guys what the colors mean. Purple boxes like this are confirmed tornadoes. So if you see purple, that means that this is the real deal, that there are tornadoes confirmed there. So red is tornado warning, usually Doppler radar indicated. And then you got the purple that is confirmed. And then even here, I want you guys to just kind of look at this. I'm just using this as an example to kind of educate you guys on this. So when you see this, there are actually two different types of severe thunderstorm warnings here. You notice the one that's got more of that darker orange outline around it. That's because those storms there have got a higher criteria that they have met in terms of severe weather. And what that is, and you can kind of see it here, are when you've got these warnings, and we just got an update on that there, but when you have those warnings there with that orange outline, either that means tornado possible, a tag associated with it, or sometimes it can be for the larger hail or winds. And so when there's that orange darker outline there, notice the one that's back here does not have that. Okay, so it doesn't have that threat. See, it says tornado possible on the right one, but not on the left one. And so that's how you can kind of tell the difference there between that. So let's come back to home as we swing back here into southern Illinois with our storms that are rolling through portions of Christian County over into Edgar County and Coles County right now. Looks like it's storming there in the Charleston area. Looks like it's storming on Jacob's camera. You can see we'll just pull that up there real quick. You can see the heavy rain that's coming down there as he's enjoying his dinner here tonight. I'll click back over to our weather cam view from Charleston. I'm starting to see some lightning strikes showing up over there. And so it looks like it's coming down pretty good in the Charleston area. Gloria says the thunder in Mattoon is loud. And Amanda, I saw Amanda's question there. Is that the same for us in Central Illinois? The outline colors? Yes. The outline colors mean the same thing here in Central Illinois. If you see that purple color, red color, tornadoes there for sure. And the oranges are going to be your severe thunderstorm warnings. Mattoon getting some good lightning strikes as well. I'm going to turn on our camera view there for you guys to see. So that's Charleston. Here comes Mattoon. Raining hard in Paris. You can see the Mattoon camera. You can see the rain really kind of coming down there on the road. Kind of flashing there in the lights. All right, so we're keeping an eye on things here for you. Again, as I'm looking at everything here, what I'm going to do here is, because I want to pull up some other radars, and I'm going to look at some of these other storms that are back to our west and use another one of our radar sources. So stand by here. oh my goodness, near Buffalo into Dallas County in Missouri there. Pretty intense little cell. And I'm going to pull that up here in just a second. Then we're going to analyze it to kind of help you guys understand what we're looking at sometimes. All right, so here we go. This is the tornado warning cell that is west of Lebanon, Missouri, coming into, and yes, this real town here. And I remember when I worked down in the Springfield, Missouri market, Windyville, and it potentially is about to get windy. A tornado warning right there. We're going to switch over to the velocity, and you can see some of those reds and greens there kind of coming close to one another. Potential is definitely there for a tornado. Strong thunderstorm located there, and that's going to head right there straight east. That's Lebanon, one of the larger cities there in the area. Bass Pro Tracker boats, big business that's there. And I remember they actually got hit by a tornado several years ago when I was down in that area. Let's look back here to the west where they had some reports. Looks like 2-inch size hail, egg size hail near Bolivar, Missouri. So those are the storms there that we're watching. I'm going to click back to this radar in St. Louis, and then that'll take us in to look at this storm that is near Wentzville. That storm, they're going to be getting close to the Doppler radar that is on the northwest side of St. Louis. So that storm there also, severe thunderstorm warned. Not seeing rotation with it exactly. So a lot of activity there. And then back home we go, and we'll switch back over to our Lincoln radar to show us the storms here that we are continuing to watch. And look, here are those flash flood warnings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the radar off and just kind of show you. So look at the green colors here. So you've got from Morrisonville to Palmer to Taylorville to Stonington, back down to Assumption, Wanaco, and Moweaqua, stretching towards Bethany, Dalton City, Lovington, Sullivan to Arthur. Flash flood warnings. That's an area where we've seen probably 2 to 3 inches of rain, and it continues to come down. Looks like that warning that was in effect earlier, no longer in effect. Oops, sorry about that. In terms of severe thunderstorm warnings, but definitely still seeing a pretty decent storm there from Paris over to Redmond, Vermilion, Grandview, just south of you, Raritan, Oakland, Loxa, Charleston, Lerna, Mattoon. We're talking about all those lightning strikes there. So we've got those brighter reds. That's where you've got some of the heavier rainfall, the more intense cells. But look down here again near I-70 in this area that we don't have storms. We're going to have to be watching this area here long and south of that warm front to see if any of those storms that come out of Missouri eventually fire back up. So that's kind of what we are looking at here tonight with this severe weather threat. Currently, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for our immediate area. Okay, we've got, lots of places dealing with a lot of lightning, and that's the thing. And we just kind of look at the lightning on this here, and I pulled that up. Look at all these lightning strikes that we've got. So many. As a matter of fact, we come over here, we throw on the number, and you can see just within the view that you're looking at there, you're looking at 71 lightning strikes over the past 15 minutes. Negative and positive strikes, there's a difference. Positive strikes are not the ones you want. They have more amperage in them. Those, a lot of times, do the damage and whatnot. There's more power to them, essentially, as opposed to the negative strikes. Both are, obviously bad. You don't want to get struck by either, but positive strikes, those, strike you, those, that's a bad day. So we can actually tell the difference between those, and some people that may not have realized that there is a positive and a negative lightning strike. There are differences there. The positive ones are more rare, and when you have those can sometimes be more of an issue. So we have the ability to distinguish between those, which is always interesting. So again, thanks to everybody joining us here on the view of our severe weather that we are keeping an eye on. Again, we're not talking about severe weather at this moment for places like Champaign, or Danville. And I'm just going to widen this big view out for you. And if we're not talking about your cities, yeah, you're probably not going to be dealing with a whole lot here. So Danville, Champaign to Decatur and Springfield, that severe weather threat, pretty low. Now, we're going to watch things later tonight, see how far north that warm front kind of lifts. It's probably pretty much where it is. May not move a whole lot, but there still may be a hail threat. And we've got to see how this plays out. I'm just going to read up on some of the stuff here we're getting from the Weather Service. So again, the warnings are no longer in effect for Champaign, Douglas, Edgar, and Vermilion counties that we once had. A lot of the talk continues to be on the heavy rainfall that continues to move across the area. So that's what we've got here as of right now. Largely for our area, we were thinking there could be, some decent cells with potential for tornadic development here over the course of the evening. That has not happened yet. That doesn't mean that it won't at some point. There is still a window of opportunity. That tornado watch is still in effect. Let's see if I can't pull up that. And so this is the tornado watch. Looks like they continued a severe thunderstorm watch now into Indiana. That's the pink color that you see. But a tornado watch continues here until midnight. So a little less than 4 hours. Still the potential is there. Widen this view out. Let's shut the lightning off, and let's kind of show you I-70 here. Later tonight, definitely from Effingham over to Vandalia, we're going to be watching those areas because there's still some decent instability located down that way where storms can tap into that. And so the storms like that instability. So Effingham over to Ramsey, Beecher City, like I said, Vandalia, Montrose, Sigel, Cumberland County there. We're going to watch that as those storms kind of ride right along into south of that warm front. But right now, not much going on down in Effingham. And we can switch over to a few of our weather cams here. There's Mattoon, where the rain is still coming down, and our view from our Charleston camera as that heavy rain continues. So be aware of the flooding, especially living in some of those rural areas, some of those country roads and whatnot. There's been a lot of water that's been coming down here in the last few hours. So those flash flood warnings continuing, and anticipate potentially even more of those as additional rainfall continues to hit the area. Let's see what we got here. So again, there's that kind of warm front draped across the middle of the state. South of that front, the best chance for severe weather. Listen, it's 74 in Effingham right now. I mean, it is warm and what we would call a juicy atmosphere down that way. Dew points into the 60s, but here we are, 8 o'clock at night. It's 74 degrees down there. So we're going to have to watch that carefully as those storms kind of come out of the St. Louis area and see how those interact with the atmosphere that is currently in place. Here again, I'll show you the Storm Prediction Center outlook. And when you look at the colors here, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, I'll just pretty much tell you that if you're in the orange area, that's where you have the best chance to see any tornadoes here tonight. If you're in the green or yellow areas, that's going to be more of a wind and hail threat, and probably less of a hail, large hail threat the more north you go. But if you're concerned about tornadoes, it's really that orange area, because that is basically where the warm front is located. And south of that warm front, in the warm sector where I was just showing you the temperatures into the 70s, that is where the atmosphere is primed enough to where severe weather could form, could develop, and cause the most issues. So that's why we are keeping an eye on that area down there where the atmosphere is still going to remain primed as we go throughout tonight. So that's kind of a general idea. That's why we're not as concerned for maybe Danville, Champaign, over to Clinton, Lincoln. So yeah. Switch back over to our camera in Mattoon. Seeing some messages there saying that pretty loud thunder and some lightning there in Mattoon. And here's what we can do. So what's really cool with our radar, it's really good in terms of showing exactly where lightning strikes occurred. So let's come down here. Oops. We can go right in on the storms and on these lightning bolts. And let's make them a little bit smaller so we can zoom down into the exact location. And let's do within the past 5 minutes. So it looks like there were 2 lightning strikes, and there was one on the west side of town. And we can take this like all the way down. So it looks like it occurred right there. Western Avenue. What is that? It's going to be 43rd Street. And here, if I can take this down even smaller. So right in that area, looks like there was a pretty good little lightning strike. And so it's really good as to showing us exactly where. So if you just heard a loud pop, there was one of the many lightning strikes. And again, I love being able to go right down to the street view to see exactly where some of those lightning strikes occurred. So kind of a neat thing we're able to do. Okay, let's back it up. And there's look at the storms coming down pretty good in Charleston. Let's click over to our weather camera in Charleston right now. Actually, I think we're going to look at Mattoon first, and then we'll go to Charleston. There's Mattoon, and now Charleston's camera. That, again, I love because we recently gained the capabilities to do pan and tilt and zoom. So we can move this camera around and get some different views. And if you've been with us over the years, this camera's been it's been a fixed camera, and we couldn't move it. And now we can, so we can kind of see things even more in this area when storms move through. So that'll be a nice, useful tool for us. You can see, boy, there's the rain really coming down. You can see it as we zoom in to the parking lot there at the Walgreens. Traffic moving along. Lincoln Avenue. And you can just see, and again, this is a good, example. And you can see some of the water pooling up on the roadways there. So definitely kind of be careful. Hydroplaning could become an issue. So keep that in mind. So we'll widen the view out, tilt up. You can see the lightning strikes that are still flashing in the night sky down in Charleston, where it is coming down. So flash flood warning continues for Macon, Moultrie, Shelby County. 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain down that way. 1 inch. Rainfall amounts of 1 inch. An additional 1 inch of rain is possible. So then you're looking at maybe 3.5 inches of rain that could have fell in some areas. So, oof. Wider view again on the radar. Here it comes. Going to be watching our storms coming out of Missouri. And I want to look at some of the new model data. It's going to be coming in here over the next, let's see, what time is it? It's 8:17 right now. Oh, okay, it is in. So give me a moment, guys, because I want to look at some storms for tomorrow. I'm really curious as to how things may play out for tomorrow. And And I don't want you to let your guard down for tomorrow at noon, 1 o'clock. It's looking like kind of that I-57 corridor points to the east, that there are going to be additional storms that may fire off. The system's kind of slowed down a little bit. And so it's looking at some different parameters here. There's definitely going to be some severe weather threat. So I would not be surprised if, so right now, the Storm Prediction Center, I'm going to pull this up, what they call their day 2 outlook, barely has that marginal risk area coming in. That's probably going to get pulled back a little bit to the west. And I think that slight risk area could come as far west there's I-57. We'll see what they do. So that update will come out here tonight, 1 o'clock or so. And so we're going to be curious to see how that plays out. Because if you look at some of the short-term high-res models, they are showing that tomorrow there's still going to be at least a chance. And then definitely as you get into Indiana and into Ohio, where they have a very large severe weather threat showing up for them. Something to monitor there if you got friends or family that live over there. Let me see if I can't pull the wider view up of that. And look at that red color that's out there. That's a moderate risk. We only get that a handful of times of the year. And so they're seeing that there into central Ohio. Now, again, this will get updated. We'll see what it does. I think we just maybe included a little bit more as that update comes out later on tonight. All right, back to the radar. Lightning strikes there. We let Seth. Oh, is Jacob waving? Jacob, are you wanting to talk? Here, I'm going to put him on. Hold on a second. All right, give me a second here. We let Seth go get some dinner. So Seth is out of the studio. Went to go get some dinner himself. So there's Jacob now. I got to come over here and turn on your audio. And there he is. All right. Jacob, what's up, man?
Hey, Kevin. Just want to let you know I did finish my dinner too. So, thought I'd let you know that. It was good. Do you want me to bring something back at some point? Might get cold by then.
Seth did offer to get me something. Since he's going to do the 9 o'clock here, I may go grab something myself. But there you go. McHugh's, I guess, where you were. Pretty good little local spot.
Yeah, it was McHugh's. I have always been in Matthew Charleston. I have always been a Burger King fan. We went there all the time when I was at FFA, my FFA advisor. Anytime we had an event down in Matthew Charleston, we were going to Burger King. But they're both good. I feel like there's a battle between the two down the street. So finished my burger. I tell you what, Kevin, the rain was coming down pretty good. Now we're heading south at I-57. We're coming down to the Lakeland exit now on the south side of Mattoon. And seemed like roads had been handling the water pretty good here initially. It wasn't much more than a little ponding in the roads in Matthew Charleston. So that's what we're looking at. But of course, you keep this soaking rain over a period of time, and that can add up. These warm fronts are really unique because you've got that severe threat, but then you take some warm, humid air and you override that. You push that on top of cold, dense air at the surface. We're down to 59 right now here on the southeast side of Mattoon. That's going to keep that rain flood threat. That's probably what we're going to deal with the most here. The other thing is that cold, dense air will try and continue to push to the south, and it's hard for me to think about what might stop that. So maybe if this trend continues, we'll see that rain cooled air push into Effingham County, and it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. So I'm going to head that way, though. I do want to be in the warm area for any tornado potential, but I have a feeling that maybe later this evening, places from Taterville over towards, say, Shelbyville into Mattoon, Charleston, there might be a zone of some flooding potential within that area. And I know Mattoon's flooded before. There's a problem right there. So I'm sure tonight's going to get some of those spots, especially if we can keep up ½ inch to an inch hour rainfall rates. A couple of hours of that, talking 2-3+ inches, and some places already have had them. In the meantime, that's what we're dealing with here. This is probably the best outcome for the severe potential, but if you don't get the severe potential, that trade-off is the flooding, and there have been some tropical downpours out here, Kevin, in Coast County where we are at now. That is my report, Kevin. Don't know if you have any thoughts kind of looking at that data. I was thinking maybe look at when you said this is a creation. Kevin, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate the report over there for us. Yeah, like you said there, it's definitely a flood threat right now. That is continuing as those heavy rain showers move over the same area. But listen, we had some models, earlier today that were definitely looking like they were going to be, having really good chance of, really good chance that severe weather and tornadic activity could roll through. Has not been the case so far. And even the cells that are back here into the St. Louis area now, north of St. Louis, are just severe thunderstorm warned at this hour. So Fallon, seeing a pretty good little storm there. And that orange box is severe thunderstorm. Back into Missouri, and even all of those are now severe thunderstorm warned. With the tornado possible tag, and again, we can tell the difference there by that darker orange outline. Oklahoma has the one lone tornado warning that is still in effect, and that is going to be up in the far northeastern portion of the state. As you can see there, near, it's going to be southwest of Miami, Oklahoma, Nowata. And so that's the one and lone tornado warning in effect. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here right now. Let me see if I can't pull up again one of the models to share with people. Show you kind of how things may play out here tonight. Definitely some heavy, heavy rainfall. And again, this is what I'm talking about for tomorrow, okay? Look at some of that activity, 1, 2 o'clock tomorrow. There is the concern for additional storms because this front system is kind of slowed down. So we get this heavy rainfall threat here tonight to roll through, maybe some gusty winds, some hail. And then again, we get this uptick potentially midday tomorrow. Along I-57 points to the east towards the Indiana-Illinois state line. Just something that if these models continue to show this, we should definitely be wary of as we head into your Tuesday. We'll see what things are going to do in terms of our severe weather threat when the Storm Prediction Center comes out with their new outlook here later on tonight. No severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. No warnings in our area. Looks like they got a few over into Indiana, west of Indianapolis now, between Crawfordsville and Indianapolis. But back here where we are, it's just a lot of heavy rain, but it continues. Man, listen, Pana, concerned about some flooding there into Christian County and even into the Matthew and Charleston area. You guys have seen a lot of rainfall. And when we just show you the loop over the last hour, it's those same areas, seeing the rain. And that typically happens. It's almost a stationary front at this point. It's kind of a warm front / stationary front because it's not moving. A lot of times, you got these fronts here that sit across the area, but it's almost kind of turning a little stationary. It's kind of sitting there and will provide the focus for continued rain until the actual cold front moves through. And again, if you look at some of the models here, the area of low pressure, there's kind of a triple point area that may occur in far east central Illinois tomorrow into Indiana that we're going to have to watch out for. So we're going to be keeping an eye on it. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in here to our broadcast here for you tonight. As we continue to show you the thunderstorms that move across the area. Again, no warnings are in effect. We don't have any warnings right now. So here's what I'm going to do. Since we don't have any warnings, we've been kind of, keeping things, letting you guys know what's going on. There are no warnings in effect in terms of severe weather. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break from the streaming coverage here. And then when some of these other storms come out of St. Louis, come into our southern counties, we may pop back on here, kind of refresh everything, and get things going once again. So we're going to pause here with our streaming coverage. Jacob's still out in the Stormtracker. Seth is getting ready for the 9 o'clock newscast to tune in on TV for 9 p.m., 10 p.m., as he is going to be letting you guys know what to expect here for the rest of tonight. But just briefly here again, as we look at the radar, you can see areas there along between I-70 and I-72, continue to find that heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning there. And then we watch those cells that are going to be coming out of Missouri. That I-70 corridor, the best chance. The tornado watch continues until midnight tonight. Counties you see here. You're not in the tornado watch in Danville, Champaign, Monticello, Clinton, Lincoln, Gibson City, Watsika. None of you are in that. Yellow counties there. You're under that, okay? So we will be back with you guys if additional warnings get issued. At this moment, there are no warnings in effect. We continue the tornado watch. We're going to pause for a little bit here. Thanks to everybody who jumped in on the live streams. This is how we do it. And I want to do this here for you real quick because, well, I've got you. We've got a big thing coming up on Wednesday, and it is our severe weather show, Weathering the Storm. Okay, so on Wednesday at 6:30, we put together our 30-minute special. We've been doing this for years, and we've got this really cool special we've got for you guys. So we want you to tune in at 6:30 on Thursday for all your severe weather needs. Get you prepared. We talk about some really cool things to get you ready for the upcoming severe weather season. This is just the beginning. We're scratching the surface here on this April 1st. You know, kind of April, May, those are the kind of the key times. Of course, we have tornadoes any time of the year around here, but April, May usually is that uptick. So this is our show, Wednesday, April the 3rd. And also while I have you here, I want you guys to download our weather app. And that's going to be the QR code that you see on your screen there. If you've got your cell phone out, scan that code that is on your screen right now, okay? And that is going to take you to the place where you can download our app if you've not downloaded our app before. So this thing is going to get you warnings, okay? It will alert you and the warnings in your area, just overall all of our forecast stuff. A really cool map room that you can get to, all of our weather maps. We created this awesome map room that you can get and have all of the graphics essentially that we have. And so if you scan the QR code there, it's going to take you to the spot to download our weather app. You want the WCIA 3 weather app there. And I'm going to tell you something else, a little sneak peek. We are partnering with a new company that is going to help get more warnings out to you in a different way. Okay, not the same way you always get, but some of you that may be a little bit more old-fashioned, maybe you like to get warnings through, and this is only a sneak peek, maybe through a phone call. On our weather show, Weathering the Storm on Wednesday, find out a brand new way that you are going to get warnings from us that you can sign up for. And so we want you to tune into the show to find that out. We're launching it there on Wednesday. And so find out more about that. I think some of you are going to really enjoy that new feature that we are going to hopefully give to you guys. So many different ways to get warnings, weather radios that we sell, this new service that we're partnering with, obviously all of our live streaming that we do. So check out the show, scan the QR code now, download the app. You can also watch our live streaming on the app. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, you know, we're on WCIA.com, but the app as well, if you scroll down where it says live stream, that's also where you can always find us. So there you go, guys. That's what we got here for now. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. We'll be back with you if any other warnings get issued. As of right now, though, we'll just do a quick little double check of things. Biggest concern continues to be the flooding that is going to be taking place. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back here with you later on tonight. Again, here's the nice thing. If there are warnings, we're going to be here, and we'll jump back in and let you guys know what to expect. But for now, we take a pause, and we'll come back with you if severe weather warrants us coming back. You know, we're going to be here for you. Thanks for joining us. For meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff and meteorologist Jacob Dickey, I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. Stay safe tonight. You can count on us for more coverage when severe weather strikes. Have a good one.